strikes responsible for a large part of why Shoyoro blew up, you know?
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
Yeah, exactly.
I followed Budo J.
So I did a podcast with him, and then I was like, "Oh, what have you been up to? How's everything going?" He's like, "Oh yeah, the Budo videos is still up and going." And so then I went on there. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." So
Wait, those are available on the site? You can buy these?
Yeah, I mean, whatever I saw, I got. You know.
I'm getting the
Hixon Gracie one, right? That's like, man, it's like.
Is that who's the middle one?
It's Instant Inoi.
Inoi, okay. And then we got Sakuraba.
Hixon Gracie.
I love that era. The knee pads.
The original Valetudo Japan.
That
right?
Valetudo, yeah. I love that era. That was a scary to watch era of like seeing, like, I remember finding videos of like Pride and stuff like that back in like mid, like 2003 or 4 or 5 ish. You know, like Wanderlei Silva and just that whole era. It was scary to watch because I had never seen fighting like that done, like head stomps
in Japan,
and
right?
Like soccer ball kicks to the head. I was like, what are these guys? This isn't. Yeah. This is a completely different thing.
Did the Valetudo Valetudo Japan back in the day? Did they have gloves? Yes, they did, right? The original one with Hixon?
Yeah, because I remember. Oh, that one? Yeah. I think they did.
They did, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like Choke. Remember they had...
Right, Choke. I think they did, yeah. They did. You're right.
And then Wanderlei Silva's golden era, they had gloves.
Right, that was, for sure they had gloves then at that point.
When did that go to Japan? Do you know when that went to Japan?
The
like Valetudo, when they started doing Valetudo.
You know, they had the UFC, right? And then I think it was in... a good question of the year, but it was like around the UFC time, right?
Oh, okay.
And maybe even like a year after, maybe 94, 95, 93, something like that.
Yo.
When he fought, like when he won 3 fights in one night.
Hoist?
Hixon, right?
Did. Yeah. That was the format back. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, get back in there, like after, after going to war 1 time, 2 times.
And he was so well spoken, right? Hixon's so well spoken and charismatic, right?
Yeah, man. I hope he's on the road to recover or whatever you do.
Yeah.
You know, because seeing him, I saw him on like an Instagram post recently, and I was like, it kind of heartbreaking because he's such a hero to so many. Yeah, but he's still resilient.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing, right, about it, the silver lining is he's facing like head on, you know, because he's so well spoken, charismatic, and then he's kind of, I think it's Parkinson's, you know, something
Parkinson's,
like that. Yeah. And so he's kind of, not sharp. He's not able to say things, do things, right? And he's facing it head on, face on, like warrior mindset, go out on his shield.
It's crazy. Power of example, right?
Yeah, instead of like being ashamed of it or hiding, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you could hide away because to protect his his whatever his
image,
brand, his image,
brand,
right?
yeah.
But no, he's exposing it and sharing his journey,
his vulnerability.
Yeah, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. He's my hero.
Yeah,
Hixon's my hero.
Mine too, for sure.
Did we start?
We started.
Oh, we started.
Ken, not mess it up.
Okay.
Quitugua.
9.9
Quitugua
on the scale.
Ken Quitugua.
Yeah, that's it.
Multidisciplinary artist.
Multidisciplinary artist. Self-proclaimed.
I mean, I love it. That's it. That's what you do.
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Video, film, fight choreography, graphic design, art direction. Yeah, I love it all. I love the visual arts, storytelling, all that stuff, man. I think sometimes I'm a little bit too creatively ambitious. Like I need to focus sometimes. I start things and stop things, but I think that's just kind of like just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks, what kind of sticks with me. But yeah, I dabble in everything.
It's part of how you're wired, right?
I think so.
And that's how you become creative, right?
It can be frustrating, I think, for some people close to me. My wife is always saying, like, you focus on something, like, okay, you want to do is there a clothing brand? You want to do a clothing brand, or what do you want to do? You want to make a movie, or whatever I'm into. you know, who knows? I'll try to be a DJ next year or something. I don't know. Stupid.
And now Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt.
Yes, sir.
After many years.
After many, many years. 16 years total.
16 years.
Yeah. Even if, you know, you consider, I don't know, like during that whole time, I probably took off a total of 3 years, 4 years in there somewhere. But I like to just string it all together from, you know, like the first day I put the gi on to when you tied the belt around my waist. So that's a 16-year journey. Wow. That was my journey, you know. I took a while, but I got there, you know. I think one of the things, like, when I got it and I had time to reflect, I was like, it was empowering because it was like, oh, shit, that's one thing I didn't stop. I didn't quit. Like I was saying just now, you know, like I have so many different things I'm interested in, but jiu-jitsu has been one of the constants. I'm always coming back to the mat, even if I take a month off from work travel or an injury. It's never in my mind that I'm going to hang up the gi and I'm not going to be back or whatever. It's always been like,
Get back in there.
I just get back in there. Remember, like, you kept texting me like, yo, what are you up to? What are you doing? You know, we have classes 7 days a week. It's like,
morning, afternoon,
evening, and it's like, yeah, you know, I would look at those texts and like, there's no reason. You know, you just got to make the time.
Yeah.
It's a mindset thing, you know, like you spend time off and you're like, another week. Let me just give me another week. I'll get some momentum going again. Something will fire up inside of me. But you realize it's just showing up, really. So.
Yeah, because a lot of your friends, right? Well, when you started coming to Legacy, they got their black belts, and you saw all your friends, the guys, because before there was. It's like pre-pandemic and after-pandemic, and it was like this like era, weird era. But a lot of the guys getting their black belts. I remember you were like, you were there. You guys were like a squad, right? Yeah. So that a lot of them got their black belts, and
that was a deep squad, a brown belt squad. One year, it was like Professor Torres, Robert, Patrick was in there, Omar. Andrew,
Patrick Santos, rest in peace.
Savage got his brown belt. Yeah, Patrick Santos, rest in peace. It was a lot. I think Sugar Bear.
Sugar Bear. Yeah.
It was a dope crew. Like we were all coming up together. We all had purple. We all came up. I think Chris got his maybe 6 months, maybe a year before us, the brown belt.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna graduate with these guys, right? Because it was pretty consistent. Through purple and brown, just getting stronger in mindset. I don't know, physically, but getting more comfortable, more confident with my jiu-jitsu. And then, you make decisions for the family. Things got weird with how the world turned for a couple years, and I did what I had to do for family, and I respected that. But I was always like, dang, man, if I was training, I saw there's a couple of graduations. You had one on in 2020 and every year after that. But I was like, respect them, man. Like those guys put their time in and all deserved. And I was just like, you can't help but think, you're like, man, if I kept training, maybe I would have been a black belt, but that's not my journey. It took me till November.
Everybody's on that journey, right?
Yeah. It's all good. All good.
I was made me think of David. Do you follow David Goggins at all?
I mean, I'm a fan of his, his whole style.
His book, right? And he has this cookie jar thing where he's going through a hard time or whatever situation, and he just remembers the things that he did well, things that he had successes with. For example, he's running some crazy ultra marathon, 300,000-mile race, and he just remembers I did this, okay. And gives him energy, right? Yeah. And so it's one of those things, getting your black belt, oh, I can't focus, or I want to do 10,000 things, right? Hey, I focused.
It's symbolic of that, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can get a black belt without putting some focus in. Right?
Yeah, consistency.
That consistency. And I think watching all that happen, especially through the pandemic, watching people get promoted and seeing the success, seeing Legacy kind of sort of grow even more, even grow bigger from when I had kind of paused. it was really cool to watch from the sidelines, and just it was inspiring. You know, I was like, oh man, that's why I trained there. I was really proud of how everybody had kept pushing, and it was enough inspiration to call me back and to keep pushing through the finish line, at least this finish line.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
once I surrendered,
You deserve that, you know. It's like, man, you know, like, what are you gonna do? Like, I'm not gonna follow through after all these years.
No,
and all of these legends and stuff you've been around and trained with over the years.
Yeah. Like when I had that chance to reflect, and I was like, man, I got to train with a lot of dope coaches and just training partners over the years. You know, like I my lineage. I started with Paul Schreiner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now he's back in LA.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool because I need to link up with him. I need to show him my black belt. No, Paul, I trained with Batata.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me my blue belt.
Mm-hmm.
I moved around a little bit. I even trained when I got back to LA from living in the Bay for a while. I trained with Steve Cardenas, who's a Paragon black belt. I trained with Cobrinha for a little bit. At Cobrinha's, I should say. I trained mainly under Jake Sandoval. He's a strong competitor back.
He's in Redondo Beach or something now, right?
I don't know where he is these days, but he was a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I found my way back to Burbank through Tarka, Professor Tarka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he had gone there, yeah.
We trained together at Force Balance.
Right.
With Steve Cardenas. And Tarka used to kind of like come in and out. I don't even know if he was like an actual student there. I don't know how it worked because he was kind of he hopped from mat to mat. He would float. And he used to come in and wreck everybody. He was a purple belt and he used to just put it on everybody. We're like, who's this dude? Every night with him was like ADCC.
Yeah,
man,
I heard
right?
during the pandemic, you know, you're supposed to have people have these little pods, you know.
Oh, he went. He cross-pollinated. He's spreading
like
it.
10
Come
pods
on,
or
Tarka.
more, you know.
Anyways, it's Tarka. He's the one that
Awesome.
advised me. He's like, he gave me like just a straightforward. He's like, you know, if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, you need to train more often. First of all, he's like, so you need what would be convenient for you. And he knew I lived in Burbank. I think he knew I lived in Burbank. He was like, Legacy's right there. It's a good space. Alberto's there. There's tough dudes, you know. So that was that. And I came, and I barely saw him after that because I think he trained in the evenings, and I would do like noon or whatever.
Yeah.
But
he got busy with his job and stuff too.
Yeah.
Became like a principal and doing different things.
But thanks to
education.
Thanks to Professor Tarka.
Awesome.
He's the
Shout
one that
out to
brought me
him.
in. Yeah, he brought me in. And then, once I got here, it's weird. You know, like you think you can go to just any school, pick up and maybe sign up and it should be okay. But like I've been to enough academies to know that there is a real, like you do have to do like a vibe check with the school and just make sure that you actually get along with not just the instructor or, you know, when you roll and you feel out the student body. Like, what are these guys about? How are they? Because you can go to some gyms and it can be a bunch of assholes. You know, it's just like, man, what I don't need that. I got to go to work tomorrow. This isn't my livelihood, or this isn't all I do. So you want to go somewhere where you feel safe but feel challenged at the same time, and that's what I felt here. You know?
And have fun, right? Laugh.
Yeah. The first role was with now Professor Josiah. He was a blue belt.
Wow.
I was a purple belt.
Wow.
And he tapped me out. And I was like, what is this? What is this place? Yeah. I know I hadn't been training, but he was a solid blue belt.
Yeah.
That's how far back, legacy days I go.
Full competitor, yeah.
Yeah, he was competing a lot.
Yeah.
It's a quiet dude. Just like took my back, choked me out.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
Yeah, that's how long I've been. It was 2000, I think, 16 or 17 when I came over here. I think it just became kind of the legacy, the rename.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were Gracie Baja.
You guys were great, right?
Like the year before, a couple years before that. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So I've been kind of orbiting, but then right when you changed, kind of like started to pay attention. Tarka told me about it. Here we are.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. We always talk about the showy roll. You talk about showy roll. Just the like the second like kind of most used logo, the one that has the line on it and
the script,
the jiu-jitsu against the world, or what
what was it? Jiu-Jitsu versus the world, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, it's because people don't know, you know, yeah, look at that, he did that, and just everything. Yeah, you're so talented. I love when you, just the designs. I nerd out. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. You know, I get super excited. The TACFit logo, our TACFit logo. Yeah, it's worldwide, right?
It's weird.
Seeing it had, certification in Spain, certification in Brazil, China.
Yeah.
You know, and you see this this logo, the club bells, swinging around.
Right there. That one.
There we go, right here. Right?
That one.
The TACFit, boom, TACFit, the round, the club bell.
Yeah, this logo design is fun. It's super challenging because like you kind of have to kind of like get all the ideas in a mark. Like you have to tell a story in a mark, kind of thing. Sometimes they're a little bit more ornate, and they have you're given an opportunity to say more in the mark. Some of them are a little bit more simplified, like the 4 club bells in the circle. Like Adit's logo, Açai Jungle, that has a little bit more, we're building a little bit more of the taglines on there. So
your community paradise, or what is it?
Neighborhood paradise.
Neighborhood paradise. Yeah. Neighborhood is more homey.
Yeah. That was really cool to be part of, I guess, jiu-jitsu culture in a way, having been able to design a logo that's so recognizable in the community. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know it was going to turn into to that, because when I had met, when I got in contact with Bear from Showy Roll, it was through Paul Schreiner, because Paul met me as I was a visual designer at Apple. So he was teaching classes at kind of like an on-campus little sort of like, we do this a couple of times a week for people that worked at Apple. It's like kind of like a feature of the gym.
Gotcha.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, come and learn,
He wasn't he in Santa Cruz?
He was Santa Cruz under Kaijin, right?
Right.
With Garth Taylor and that whole crew. But then, during that era, so we kind of took a like to each other, kind of hung out a little bit, and he knew that I was a designer, so he was like, "Hey, why don't you talk to these guys? They got a really dope gi brand. They only had a few, like not all their batches. God, I can't remember where they were on their releases back then, but they were looking to kind of rebrand, refresh things a little bit. And I was like, some dudes are from Guam too, and had the same last name. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's meant to be. So I worked with Bear and his team, and history. It's one of their. It's like their secondary brand.
Yeah.
What do you call that? Logo mark.
Yeah.
There's when it started to like kind of go live, like I started to see like champions wearing it, like Bushesha wearing my logo. Yeah. That's a really good feeling to know that your brand is traveling that far and kind of like on the backs of legends. So it's cool to see that kind of thing. That's what I like about art, and design. You get to see it kind of in the wild and see how it works in the wild, how people interact with it. If it's successful, it was dope to be part of that.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Remember you talking to me about visual storytelling.
Visual storytelling, yeah.
Visual storyteller for TACFit, and I'm like, well, and you started talking to me, and I was like listening. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he started like showing me like how you think, like the concepts and everything that's going into it, and
yeah. I love dissecting, those kind of like those macro ideas and trying to build a story around something, trying to get people emotionally involved with it. Like, does it speak to you? If it does, then how can we keep pulling at these emotions and getting people to kind of further investigate through visual storytelling. Sometimes it could be photography, it can be typography or color, but I like how design is. It's a challenge, right? You're creating something to get a response, to communicate something, right?
Get a feeling,
to get a feeling, to get a response. And like with all the TACFit stuff, I know one of the things that we worked on together was kind of unifying the visual identity of TACFit, right? Because in the beginning, or at least predating the stuff that we worked on. It was kind of it was scattered, right? There was no visual unity, and that's something that we worked together to build. And now it's we're working on that. There's definitely a kind of a visual through line now. So it's cool to see those things evolve and grow.
Yeah,
from conversations, just from a chat. So
I'm a huge fan. I'm a big fan of yours always.
Oh man, thank you.
And every time you like start talking about different things, I'm like, oh man, it's crazy. I love it. You're just playing around, right? Like even you have your Monday motivation on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Or Monday, whatever. Monday, what do you call it?
Monday moods.
Moods.
Yeah, I started doing that. My sister-in-law was asking me, or they were over Thanksgiving. They're like, what is this? It's so abstract, to some people. But I think the reason I started putting it out there is to kind of like bookmark, or at least like date tag things that I'm looking at the time, whether that's stuff that's kind of I'm filtering through for stuff at work or stuff that's just inspiring me. I look at so many things all week long, and trying to find inspiration for projects I'm working on. And so like, sometimes I'll find things that people got to see these things, these ideas, these concepts, or these pieces of art. And even on like old archival stuff, I like finding old photos of like Bruce Lee and Van Damme.
Van Damme.
It's
I
just
love
stuff
it.
that
Like,
inspires
like,
me, man. Mike
crazy.
Tyson, I
Mike
find
Tyson.
like all kinds of old stuff. I'm into it.
Iconic, like
Culture. Just
culture.
That's what makes up, the inside of my head. Like it's kind of a glimpse, little working out, sometimes I'll post some stuff from jiu-jitsu, or Hixon's on there a couple of times. I throw on my heroes. Marcelo's in there, Mike Tyson. And then like all the like art, just art and design. Just like to show people like stuff that I think is cool.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll think it's cool too. So that's all that is.
Yeah.
Monday vibes. Monday moods. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. So right outside of Seattle, there's a Navy town called Bremerton.
Bremerton.
Yeah.
Bremerton.
Yeah. It's the naval shipyard is there.
Okay.
Bangor base is there.
Bangor base.
So like Lockheed is there. It's a military town.
Okay.
But my parents worked for the base, civilian. Nobody was in the military. My grandparents were in the military. My grandfathers were in the military. That's how they got stationed in the Pacific Northwest. And then my parents worked for, military. So that was home. That was home all the way up until 20, age 20, and then I moved to San Francisco. That's where I went to art school. Yeah. So I've been on West Coast my whole life, just all up and down. Seattle, SF, and now LA. Who knows?
West Coast.
West Coast.
For you. Well, the next stop is going to like Mexico or something.
I know. Well, yeah, La Jolla, San Diego.
I guess
break the border,
San Diego.
And fly into Mexico. Nah, I mean,
how did you or what's your did you always love art when you were a kid, like growing up, like you were always visual?
Yeah. Visual, but I think I was was like most kids, as a daydreamer. Like I watched a lot of, instead of cartoons, I watched kung fu movies. My dad was a big kung fu movie fan, big time Bruce Lee fan. And so kind of a bonding thing. He would just throw on like Enter the Dragon or Game of Death or Return of the Dragon. We used to just watch that. And so I would get...
So that martial art culture, everything got imprinted in your like kind of...
Before I probably...
Everything.
No. Yeah. That's epigenetics. It's imprinted on me early, right? So that was my everything. I think all my daydreaming was kind of like martial arts related. So I was like, if I was playing by myself, it was like, kick the bedroom door down and beat up the bad guys kind of thing. So I'd always been into that kind of thinking, like movies and kind of, that's where the visual side of me came from. I learned that I could draw at a young age, so I was drawing, so I kind of put kind of the visual arts there was that angle. But yeah, I'd always been a creative kid. Yeah, I won some, like drawing contests. That was very encouraging, motivating, in school, being known as like
elementary school? Or
yeah. I know, like it's important to give. I think it's important if you have a kid or you know a kid that likes to draw or is into art, encourage it, because I think it's an interesting thing for kids to have something in their head and to be able to translate that onto like into an image, if a painting or even music. Maybe they're musicians. Like, encourage it, man. It's such a good growth tool, and I think it's good practice for people to like visualize something and to try to bring it to fruition. You know, to see it in front of you. I think that's another reason why I like design. It's like you can have an idea and then turn it into a hoodie, a hat.
Yeah, you design a hoodie.
Yeah, right. Like anything. A water bottle, a label. Like all this stuff comes from just concepts. That's what I liked. So I think I liked the idea of having something, visualizing something, and then being able to do it or see it. And that's also why I think I was interested in the martial arts, because I knew that was something you could learn. And you could potentially mimic the things that you're seeing. So mimicking Bruce Lee was probably the reason why I wanted to start martial arts in the first place. It was more from like admiring his charisma, his performance, his presence, right? Super powerful presence, and affected me as a little boy. So that inspired martial arts at a young age.
Did you start doing martial arts when you were pretty young?
Yeah, like I officially started when I was, I think, 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the way from those early days watching next to Dad, Bruce Lee movies next to Dad, all the way up until like fifth grade.
Did your dad do?
No, he's one of those backyard nunchaku guys in the 70s, just like breaking boards and just
never went to school or
no. I think
it was different back then.
Back then it was just karate and there wasn't a lot, and there's money, you have tuition, all that stuff. He came from a family of 9, so him taking karate lessons, I don't think that was gonna fly. But anyways, he still was passionate about martial arts.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they eventually put me into Kung Fu at age 10. So I did Shaolin Kung Fu.
Kung Fu Kenny.
Kung Fu Kenny. That's where that came from. Yeah. So I had been doing Kung Fu since I was 10 years old. And it's still my heart. It's still like one of my favorites. My first love in the martial arts. Yeah, I did that all the way through my teens. All the way, I competed and taught.
In Kung Fu?
Yeah, but it was more performance based. Like,
okay,
that's like forms or kata.
Forms, gotcha.
Kata. I would compete in like tournaments that way. So it was a lot of training, but a different style of martial art. I would say like the other side of martial arts.
It's so funny, right? When I was younger and competing and fighting and all that, you don't understand the value of like katas and perfecting your movement, and then years later when I have some issues and I found tack fit, understanding why those things are so important and what the power of that, the true power of that.
That's why I was so drawn to tack fit too, because I could see the overlay. So like a lot of the movements in tack fit remind me of old kung fu movies. The repetition of perfect form, so that you build that neural with that patterns, right?
Yeah.
Patterns, so that you can't do it wrong.
To that myelin, yeah.
You can't do it wrong.
Yeah, lay down that myelin.
Yeah. So that's why I respect, the whole approach to tack fit.
Got tack fit certified.
Tack fit certified. Yeah. Yeah. That the martial arts from back in the day was more performance based. We sparred, but it wasn't, nothing hardcore. I didn't really get into like hard sparring until I left Kung Fu and I started training more like combat sports. Yeah, when I got to San Francisco, that's when I found like, the Jim Fairtex.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were based out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained there for a few years, Muay Thai and a little bit of boxing. That's when before the Scrap Pack was known as Scrap Pack. So there was like Gilbert,
Melendez,
Jake
Shields.
Yeah,
Jake Shields.
And a bunch of other dudes were there, some tough guys. They had a jiu-jitsu, a no-gi, wrestling kind of a program. I was always interested, but it was super intimidating because those guys went hard every night, I was like, I'll stick to kicking the pads. They don't hit back.
It was a different era. It was still like, now it is what it is, but it's more professional, right? It was like Fight Club. Like it was definitely like.
Yeah, there was a raw energy to the fight culture back then in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, when I started to see it firsthand. Even Muay Thai was a little bit more. It was all kind of raw.
Raw, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking of when it started to change, and I think it started to change actually when they had UFC on like Spike TV. You know,
Spike changed a lot.
It
legitimized it a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was on TV now. It was
Right.
like underground.
Mhm.
It was there was no money. You did it because you loved it.
That's right.
So you're definitely trying to like represent or prove something. So just all that got kind of laid into that culture, right?
Yeah. yeah. It was a cool era to be part of and just see some of those guys blow up to where they are now, you know. But right place at the right time.
Yeah.
To have access to some of those, you know, to train in the same space as those guys. But yeah.
And how did you end up coming down to LA?
So I was a visual designer for Apple. So at the time they were starting to expand their creative team, and they had opened up a couple of spots down, you know, in LA before. You know, now we obviously have a whole big campus in Culver City. So it's kind of I think it was a kind of a test group of creatives. There was a handful of people that had the chance to do it, and I had always wanted to move down because I was into filmmaking.
Yeah.
So that's another side of me is filmmaking. But I wanted to come down. I wanted to get.
You do like music videos. I'm like, what's Kenny doing this week? Oh, this music videos. Oh,
music video. I'm going up for a music video next week to San Francisco. So
I'm doing this. I'm doing that.
Yeah. I know it sounds crazy, but I wanted to move to LA to pursue more like stunts, because I was, you know, martial arts. That kind of like that was an easy segue into making films. I wanted to be part of the film industry that way. So that was my main reason.
Making films in Seattle, making films. Can we ride the gym for this afternoon?
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We did that. We brought one of the guys we were working on in to train a little bit here. Yeah.
It's
all
cool
over the place,
because I see you. I watch a little bit. I'm just like watching from the background, you know, but just seeing how you work and how you like, because you're so low key, you're so calm, you know, and then you like you just how you kind of visualize things and put things together. It's always interesting.
Yeah. It's like a collage of ideas, trying to make it sort of like make sense.
Yeah, we talked a little bit like a while back on like law of attraction, the quantum field.
Yeah,
and
love that stuff, man. I love studying that stuff. I don't know anything. I can't really. It's just all fascinating to me how that, you know, the power of the mind and law of attraction, natural law.
Joe Dispenza,
all those dudes. I listen to all that stuff. Like sometimes I'll just put that on to keep like kind of. I'll listen to some of those talks. Alan Watts, you know, I like that stuff.
Bruce
Lipton, yeah. The list goes on. But I like studying that stuff, the metaphysics and mindfulness.
You know, I talked to Alexander, and he's always he's so creative, and he's always like, I mean, man, he's like just creating so many like songs and musics and just outside the box things, you know.
Channeling, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talk about these things like how does that happen? How does that occur?
Practice and being open to it.
Being open to it.
You know what I mean? Because I think that's how a lot of ideas. That's how I get a lot of ideas. It's just kind of going into that space and being open to. So if like I'm designing like or I'm putting together creative for a music video, I'll expose myself to a bunch of stuff and just let it seep in. It's almost like drilling. You're watching all these different things, and you're kind of watching all these things and seeing, and some things you'll remember about different videos or different projects, and it kind of forms your idea, right? So that's kind of how I think. I expose
your
myself.
Subconscious, and then boom.
Yeah.
Appears.
You download, right? You just let yourself be open, and then just take it all in. Don't compete with the ideas. Don't judge them. Just watch, absorb, and then it kind of like shapes. And eventually, it's funny, I have this, and my wife and I talk about this because it happens all the time, and I'll have like a big project. I'll be stressing for like 2 weeks, a week. I'll be like, man, I'm looking at all this stuff on all my design resources, and I'll feel stuck. And then just because I'm downloading so much stuff, colors and typography and different types of textures or editing styles or whatever it is, right? Like whatever medium I'm working on. And then like, there will be a moment where everything snaps. Happens every time. Everything snaps, and then it takes me like an hour to get the whole concept out of my head. So it kind of just like spills out. It's something that's it's gotten easier to do. I just gotta hold on while I'm struggling. I just know it's coming. Like I just gotta be patient for the idea to land. But like as long as I'm allowing myself to just relax and take in the ideas, take in the concepts, don't judge anything, and just listen to music and watch things that are inspiring, look at things that are inspiring. Sometimes it's not even related. You'll watch like a music video, but you're designing for a logo. You might get an idea because a song makes you think about something. It's all interconnected, right?
Yeah, like the Joe Dispenza, right? He always has that, all these different masters, right? And he's like, your pineal gland, right? Your brain, right? You shoot, you get the idea, it goes out into the universe or the whatever, the field, the unified field.
Yeah.
And then it's your emotions that bring it back to where you're at. And so you're listening to music and you're feeling something, and then all of a sudden, boom, like
it's frequency.
Frequency.
You're kind of like trying to align to something, right?
You're aligned to the frequency.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to catch something, catch the ghost. So you're trying to, it's trippy. Like when you do take a step back and you kind of think about anytime you've been creative, like thinking about how it all comes together. When you really feel something that's like, this is something, like I feel really, really strong about this being a successful whatever. If you do take a couple steps back before the moment it happens, you kind of look at that, just study that a little bit. It's really interesting. Usually it's in a state of relaxation, usually kind of calm. You're not really fighting the concepts or fighting to get an idea out. You just kind of snaps into place. But I think that's like just
when
being
you're
open.
relaxed. Yeah.
When you're relaxed, right? That's usually when it happens, because you're allowing the thing to like. It's all weird, man. I don't know how it works, but it's all fascinating. It happens all the time.
The second podcast I did was with this German sports scientist. He was the neuro coach for like the German, the soccer team, right, at the World Cup when they won in Brazil, and he works with all these professional soccer players in Europe, and then all the like German Olympic kind of athletes.
Yeah.
And I remember we became friends at one of the courses, the neuro courses, and he showed me this picture of this like high jumper.
Okay.
This woman high jumping, and he was showing like, look how relaxed she is, like in full on high jumping, I don't know how many feet, and she's totally relaxed. And fighters, right? Like
fighters,
fighting, martial arts, going back to martial arts, and optimal performance, athletic performance.
It's that flow.
It's that flow.
It's the flow, right? That's the only way it can happen. You can't flow when you're rigid. You're like locked up in a certain idea or something. You gotta just let it go. Go with what you know. That's it, right? Like you gotta go with what you know in the moment. That's why jiu-jitsu is dope. Because you like if you're really like you can really have fun with it in that way where you turn everything off and you just gonna allow your body to just respond. Not to insist on moves and just, that's why I tap all the time. I tap a lot.
Yeah.
But because I think I'm trying to see, like, where is there another way to do this?
Exploring.
Right. I know I'm safe here. Nobody's trying to hurt me, so it's a perfect lab to play with that kind of mentality. Just allow things to flow. Just keep pushing on certain ideas and see where they fall. But I think some of my best work. It comes from beforehand being in a relaxed state, kind of surrendering, being disconnected from any outcome. That's when the good stuff happens. I wish I could remember that when I'm in the depths of it, kind of struggling, where if I'm feeling stressed. But that's usually when it happens. Everything.
Right, people take a shower and then all of a sudden some crazy idea comes out, right? Because they're relaxed.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's when some of the best ideas happen. Right before bed, right before you're falling asleep, that theta state, right? Some people, that's why they say also that's a good time to program your subconscious mind, because you're absorbing that into your subconscious, those thoughts. So if you have like repetitive affirmations or whatever you're into, like say you have a goal, like I'm gonna be gold medal, black belt, gold medal, blah, 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 whatever it is, just repeat it. But then coupled with that or lobbed onto that, you're visualizing and you're kind of feeling what it feels like to be that, whatever it is you're trying to be. And then it becomes a feeling, and then it just, before you know it, like you're kind of aiming at that opportunity, and then it's about executing. So roundabout way.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, like all Sean, like we talk, and he's you know, when I go to Brazil, or I stay at his house, and we're listening to, is it Wayne Dwyer? What's his name?
Wayne Dyer.
Dyer.
He's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he puts like these affirmation things on, like the affirmation, and whatever it is, like not what's it called? Not a podcast, but like him repeating affirmations.
Yeah. I've heard quite a few.
Like, you're unique, you're this, you're that. You know, I can do anything I put my mind to. And so then I'm with them, and then it's like you feel good, right, when you're listening to it.
Yeah, it's a high frequency.
High frequency.
You know, that's stuff. I mean, well, everybody listening is sound a little woo woo, but like if you give it a chance, that stuff is
woo
it's
woo,
really
but
powerful.
it's science now, right?
It's science
we can measure
now.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it used to be woo woo.
This is true.
20 years ago.
Yes.
But now it's science.
Yeah. There's a couple of authors, Dr. Doty and Dr. Tara Swart. They're studying, you know, sort of things related to manifestation and the way the mind works, the way your neurology kind of builds.
And
towards
these Nobel Prize guys, right? They're humble enough to say, we think, but we don't know. Right?
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the best guys in the world, we think, but we don't know.
Yeah.
So we don't know how all these things work, right?
Yeah.
And the Joe Dispenza about, you know, how an atom is, right? An atom is like that nucleus, right? We've talked about this, right? It's like 0.0001 mass, and the rest is like electrons. It's like just energy. It's like space.
That same space there is the same space between the stars in the sky, right? You know?
And then we're looking at each other. We can't see through each other, but we're basically frequency. We're basically like space, you know?
You're all vibration.
Yeah. We're vibrating, right? On the frequency.
Yeah. I like that stuff. That stuff gets me thinking. You know, I like to get lost in those.
They can measure the frequency on the shirts, on the what it's made of, and so you can.
I think even at like when Joe has those retreats, they do these they test the mind. I guess the way the frequency of the mind and the amount of focus that goes into their types of meditations. You can see like an interesting energetic alignment, like how you can harness like your thoughts and how they take shape inside of, you know, these readings is really powerful to think like, damn, like you can shape things from thought, you know.
And with people, right? Like the Albert Einstein, he has that constructive wave interference.
I'm not familiar with that.
So basically, when you're with somebody, for example, we're talking, and then you talk about some idea or some concept or whatever, and then the frequency just goes through the stratosphere, you know?
Right.
And on the flip side, you can have somebody that sucks your energy.
Take you down.
And you feel it, right?
You definitely feel it. Yeah. That's that vibe check, you know? You can feel when you get around someone and you're like, they match frequency, and you can walk into a room and feel in danger.
Yeah.
Without anybody saying anything or looking your way. Those things are detectable.
Yeah. So. You know, like there's a book called The Culture Code. There's the same author, he wrote this other book called The Talent Code. And it's about myelization, skill building, you know, learning, right? And myelization, right? Like, you know, these athletes learning in special schools, tennis, whatever. And this is about culture, and basically, you know, like Disney or these other big companies. I think Apple. I'm not sure. I remember what companies he kind of did the study on, but they when they're building the headquarters, they're like, the hallways aren't big enough. The next one, we got to have our hallways big enough so people run into each other.
Oh.
And so they talk, and then yada, yada, and then like stuff that you can't explain happens, right?
Absolutely. That happens quite a bit, actually, especially when you find the right team, creative team, and you get them in the room together, and you just kind of riff. Like some really amazing stuff has come out of those group settings. So that's kind of where the original idea of open concept floor plan in office is kind of to encourage that. I kind of backfired on because people needed their time alone too. I said it can kind of backfire because people need time to think and to hunker down and put some execute ideas. But anyways, that's the idea.
Yeah, but we don't know, right? There's not one rule that's you gotta feel it out and figure it out.
Yeah,
and part of that is being alone for some people sometimes, and then sometimes coming to, I don't know.
Right.
It's like there's no this is how it is, right?
No, it's all
and anybody that says like this is the way, like
yeah. That's, I mean, the same thing happens in jiu-jitsu. Like we're dependent on each other, right? To learn and to create. So when you're on the mat, you can't. It's one of the martial arts where you really do depend on your training partners. It's like kung fu. I could practice, forms or weapons alone for a good amount of time. But jiu-jitsu, you have to engage.
Have a partner.
You need that community. You need a group of people. Hopefully, people. But if you need at least a partner.
Yeah.
So there's that exchange of energy there, ideas. It's
a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of I don't even know what's going on.
You take it for granted. You go home after training sometimes, you don't realize how much you've downloaded off of your training partners.
Like it's time for the new classes, like whatever 30, 35, whatever people that were in the class right now.
It's a lot.
And we're all interchanging, exchanging.
Energy back and forth. So that's one of the draws for sure. Is being able to do that, several times a week. It's exchange energy, exchange ideas without saying anything.
I remember like Joey Diaz would talk to me. He's like, man, I'm kind of stuck in writing, and then I'll come and do jiu-jitsu.
Loosens it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I go home and I wouldn't shower or anything. I would just start writing. And so that was his flow. He would do jiu-jitsu, move around, and then of course I've been doing all these like brain courses and all the things, and he started to break down like what actually happens, right? The neocortex, and the neocortex is the whatever the thinking part is fed through the bottom, which is like all the other stuff, like the moving and everything else, and so that has to go through there. And so moving all that stuff kind of warms it up, right? Yeah,
it stimulates that pathway. Yeah, there you go. Movement. If you're stuck on an idea, go move.
Yeah, that's why I like your Monday moods too, because you, without even thinking, you're just like, wow, you just put the stuff out.
It really is.
And you're like, you have some movement in there. You have some of these patterns. You have these like Bruce Lee and Mike Tyson. It's so cool,
Yeah, yeah.
Like for me, it's like the frequency, Like,
you are my audience then. Like I'm
totally.
I'm speaking to people like you that appreciate that sort of the spectrum of things that I put out there. It's just fun, and I like to see how people respond to it, because I don't know if what I'm thinking is cool. It's just doing me. But
that's it.
That's what that is. Like looking for that flow, trying to catch it.
Well, through that, right? Like the Shoyo logos on the best guys in the world on their backs, right? The tag fit all over the world, right? Those are the things, those things happen, right? It's because of all the just randomness,
working with the right people. Like, that's another part of the equation.
Thought about, or what do you call it? Not organized randomness, but I guess so in a way.
Yeah,
there's a pattern of randomness.
That's what it all is. Right?
Pattern of randomness. That's
undiscovered patterns, right? That's what we're looking for. Is kind of looking for the pattern in everything. With jiu-jitsu, is all patterns. Art is patterns. There's success in certain patterns in the way that things are gridded on a canvas. There's patterns in music, obviously. There's patterns everywhere. Like all that. sacred geometry stuff. That's all built into everything. So it's all, there's a framework we're all working on top of, and you're just trying to figure out like, where's the pattern in this guard pass? There's patterns in there. There's little intricacies that you can uncover. And then that's what's cool about, that's why I like to say multidisciplinary artist, because like I like to see
artist,
all the different types of mediums. You know, there's always something to learn or to create from in all those activities. So, a little too ambitious sometimes, but I can't help it. There's so many things, so many interesting things to get tangled up in.
I love it. Just being passionate and creating, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's being alive, right?
Yeah.
And not suppressing your genius and
I'm
living
grateful.
somebody else's life, right?
Not living somebody else's life.
Being your authentic self.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that's how we get sick, right?
Yeah, mentally and physically. Eventually takes on physical form. But yeah, if you get in the way of that, the body's natural tendency to want to be creative or to flow a certain way, you can see it in people.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with all this AI.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Things happening.
Yeah. Have you dabbled in any of it? Or
man, I spend so much time now on ChatGPT. I spend hours. I talk. I just explore. Conversations.
It's very, very interesting.
And I'm learning.
Yeah.
And from like a year ago, even with my kids, I'm like, hey, who is this? About one of the kids that maybe that's not such a high profile, but. And it's like, it knows all these things.
Yeah.
It can find everything. I don't say it can find everything, but it's so good now.
Yeah.
And it's only getting better,
It's only getting better. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get left behind, I know it's a weird thing, and a lot of people are kind of scared of it, and especially in the creative community. It's a threat, right? But I look at it as a way to amplify your creativity. It's a partner. It can be, it can be a partner in helping you come up with, or hone in on ideas. I still wouldn't trust it to do the thing, but maybe helping you think about things from different angles. It can help having those conversations or on ChatGPT or there's some image creation, like maybe you didn't think about a certain type of photographic style, and you can look in there and see how plug in different styles of photography or painting styles and get different generate different perspectives on whatever it is you're creating. But at the same time, you gotta be careful not to let too much of that work, and make sure that whatever you're prompting is coming from you. That's like the core ideas come from you.
And going back to the frequency, right? And you can feel it, right? You can feel those things. If you're intuitive enough.
Yeah.
I couldn't think that couldn't come out. Intuitive enough to feel that the frequency, and if it's like. In a way, right now, still, we'll see how it keeps going, right, with everything.
Yeah.
But I think there's always going to be that element there if you're sensitive enough to
if you're sensitive to understand how it's all building and working and how it's generating. That's, you got to pay attention to what you're letting it speak for, right? Like, especially as a creative, like, I'm totally against, like, prompt something and generate something and then give that to the world. That's not how I would like to see people using it. But as an assistant, or like a lab, to see how different ways, how can we look at things a different way? So, and it's like having a team full of people with different specialties saying, here's black and white, here's monochromatic, here's this photo style, or this painting style.
It's crazy. It's awesome. I'm very positive as well.
Yeah.
And instead of being against it or this is not good, like, use it, work with it. Yeah. Like the Matrix, right? The first Matrix, it was like us versus the machines and whatever that. But then the new one, right? It's like us working with the machines.
You better always say thank you after your after your prompt. Always say please. That memory is downloaded. You know, those interactions are building a history, a relationship. Yeah, I don't know.
A culture, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, you know? It is what it is.
Yeah. It's
So
trippy, though.
I'm positive, and I think it's going to be a positive effect on the world, you know?
I hope.
Help a lot of people, poverty, just the world make it better.
Yeah.
Of course, you can have it's always a choice, right? You can choose positive or negative.
Yeah. Yeah. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad, you know? So I'm using it for creativity, and that's mostly good, right?
You know, they say like taking away jobs, right? Like the you know, I went to that Copilot launch from Microsoft. There was one. They had one.
You went
because we were trying to create this, you know, like AI kind of for talk fit, you know. And so we were working with these guys, this business school. They had this whatever, they created this whole thing. And I went, they had the US launch like the week before, and they were launching the one in Brazil. So I went there for like a day.
Okay.
Whenever, I think it was like a year and a half ago or something. And it was in English too, so it was great. Not that I can understand Portuguese, but it's better when it's in English. And yeah, basically, you know, you can have like one or two people can do, you know, a job of 150 people.
Yeah.
Using it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy and scary.
Yeah, it's crazy and scary. What to say?
But you
about
gotta ride the wave, and you gotta own it, and you know, it's not gonna. I don't know. I believe you just find the solution.
You gotta find the solution. I mean, we're not stopping it. Yeah, we're not gonna stop it.
It's here.
So it's here. Yeah, it's here. So, you know, adapt and try to figure out how to incorporate it into your skills.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
It's easier said than done. I know some people are struggling with that, but I you know, that's the only perspective I hold right now. It's here.
It's here.
Yeah,
and it's not going anywhere.
No. So, but that doesn't, you know, I still think, you know, a great artist is gonna be a great artist no matter what, you know, without any kind of technological input or anything like that. So, those people they'll survive no matter what. You know, real art, true art from a human is totally different than something generated. Even if it's the most beautiful, amazing generated mural, it won't be anything like a real mural artist can do, you know, something that comes from somewhere else. It's channeled for somewhere else. They don't have access to that.
Yeah. Not yet.
Oh, shit. Don't.
No, I believe,
that's where it gets scary.
Who knows? What do we know, right? We don't know. We don't know.
I got you.
But that's what makes us human. That's what makes us special, right?
Yeah.
Is that ability. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, right?
I hope good things.
Yeah. I choose to think good things. Yeah. But it's definitely an interesting time with all that.
Watch on your phone. It's just, you can
palm of your hand.
Palm of your hand. Yeah.
All of humans' work and knowledge and everything else.
Anything that's been uploaded, you know, anything that's been shared, it's all up there. It's pretty. It's daunting, to say the least.
Do you talk? Have you ever asked ChatGPT like you with your name, like who is he, and see what comes up?
No, I don't know what did you say? Like, what's the prompt?
No. When you go to ChatGPT, just asking questions, you know.
I'm having a hard time with that part. I'd prefer just typing for now. I haven't really gotten into the voice stuff.
I've gone fully on to that. I did some courses too because I didn't have time to write. I'm a slow writer too. I'm sure you're much faster. But it's so much faster, like, you know, driving, I'm this, that. And so I'm like, just
whatever you're.
Yeah. And then I can fix it if I need to, but it's much faster.
Yeah.
And then, or even like now with ChatGPT, I can just copy and paste, hey, fix this.
Yeah.
Or, you know, fix the spelling or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten into the voice command stuff just yet. But I'm intrigued. It seems, I mean, I've definitely seen videos of it in action, and it's unreal. See the style, the type of response, how thorough it is. It's like your personal, like literally your personal assistant and your therapist.
Yeah, therapist. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Your professor, of science and anything, you know, anything related to science. It's all in there.
Do you ever follow Ray Kurzweil?
No. I don't know
He's
the name.
that future guy. He wrote a book called The Singularity.
I know that book. I know
It's not the black hole one, but it's like the you know, when we basically our technology catches up with the human brain, and you know, basically creating our own species in a way.
Strip.
Yeah, I remember reading like just kind of looking some videos, and it kind of started to make me sad because and I'm positive, but it made me sad because it made me feel not important anymore.
I see. Yeah.
And I think that's maybe one of the biggest challenges, right? Or that's what I hear. I don't know what's going to be one of the biggest challenges, but it seems like, right, like our value, right, of, you know, because we give ourselves our value of what things we do, like being creative, doing this, doing that, you know.
I've seen enough science fiction movies to see how that could turn out.
Black Mirror and all those things.
Man, it's a trip to spend some time thinking about maybe how bad it could go, you know, or even being optimistic, like there's that chance, but that goes deep. Hopefully,
right, having more, you know, robots or you know, machines than us, right?
Being outnumbered.
Yeah.
We're living in a science fiction movie right now. We're in the first 10 minutes of a science fiction epic, so. Yeah, you know, it's all pretty trippy. But for now, I see it as a tool to amplify your creativity or, you know, your curiosity. So we used to use encyclopedias. Remember back in the day? I had an encyclopedia at home, a whole set. That's how before all the Google and stuff. Now it's like that's a sliver of what's contained in, you know, not even a sliver, but.
And what's funny is there's a guy named George Gilder. Have you heard of him? He's also a futuristic guy. He wrote a book called Life After Google.
Okay, I think
the end of big tech and the emergence of blockchain technology, and basically, you know, the whole AI and just like I was just thinking of Google. You know, like I'm not using Google anymore. I'm using ChatGPT.
Right. That pattern's being trained right now.
And I'm like,
yeah, people are not using Google as much, maybe. Yeah. All those inquiries are being fed into ChatGPT, building into that model, right? All that information. So, yeah, man, we're feeding it.
Everything's getting its own AI. Yeah, like I mean, Apple ChatGPT is gonna go with
right.
It's gonna be with Apple now, right?
Apple Intelligence.
Or it's already is, yeah. Apple Intelligence.
Right.
When you go on TikTok and put a search bar,
yeah,
there's an AI.
That's right.
When you go on Google, now you search something.
Yeah.
It's AI answer first.
Because everything's gonna be, they're gonna use all your feedback. Well, it already is, right?
It already is. Instagram is too, right?
Instagram, Meta, AI, TikTok AI.
Well, there you go. What's that? Instagram as well. Yeah.
If you search something up,
Yeah.
it'll give you recommendations.
There you go.
I looked up tattoo shops in Thailand.
Yeah. Tattoo shops.
They gave me recommendations, the safety, and the best top 10.
Dang.
Before I even looked up a video.
Yeah, everything's moving so fast with AI, right? So that's when I did that business school, and they were like, things are moving so fast that you can't even. We tried, right? But it's like things are moving so fast. By the time you get to a certain thing, it's like such big money, you know, billions and billions.
Yeah.
So by the time you do something, things are maybe a different way.
Totally. Yeah. And the tech is being kind of like slid in overnight.
Yeah.
You wake up and your app is updated and there's like new AI stuff integrated.
I mean,
like,
from 1 year ago, the ChatGPT was good.
Yeah.
But now it's like so good.
Yeah. It's that's why, you know, like try to make friends with it.
Yeah, we have to. There's no choice, right?
Friends with it, you know, learn about it, learn a little bit, at least understand what it's doing. So have fun with it.
Yeah, that's it. In the meantime, too, we can do jiu-jitsu, not have any technology on the mat.
Technology on the mat? No.
Only
it's as primal as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of go back in time, right?
Yeah, you disconnect.
You disconnect,
but reconnect in a way, right? Because you connect with your training partners, and you know, kind of like just being you for an hour, a couple hours a day.
How does that work? You know, you're in the on the computer, you're working, and then you come and do jiu-jitsu, and how does that reset everything? How does that get you back to?
Well, you kind of explained how it probably works for me. You know, same with what Joey would go through. You know, the way that kind of clears out some paths for creative thinking later. It's a nice contrast, especially being in my head all day, and you know, my only extension is my fingertips and the mouse, kind of like making things happen on a screen, and then to jump out of that and to be creative with my body is a different thing. It's a different expression of creativity. So I look forward to that. I look forward to feeling my body in space and moving and flowing and interacting.
Your body in space.
Your body in space.
Moving your body in space.
That's what it is. Sometimes you come to class with some ideas that you want to work on. Sometimes I just let go. I don't want to think. I'm not going to practice anything today. I'm just going to respond to Marco's lasso guard or whatever. I'm gonna deal with it. Whatever.
The C guard.
The C guard or whoever, you know.
Yeah.
Like I just show up and just respond. So I look forward to that because it's a nice departure from being in my head all day. And then, you know, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, hopefully you're not in your head, and hopefully you're just, you know, more in your body versus your head. You're just kind of, again, feeling your body in space, and just, you can get as complex as you want with jiu-jitsu, you know, and I think that's the fun of it. Sometimes, you know, there's obviously the surface level of you're learning how to grapple, you're learning how to fight, or self-defense. There's self-defense aspects to it. Or you can use it as a tool to disconnect from things that are bothering you, and you know, try to catch that ghost, try to catch that flow. Sometimes you'll have some roles where you kind of like at the end of the round, you're just like, I know I did some dope shit right there. I don't know what it was, but I had a good session. I have some really...
I've seen some cool sessions with you. Kevin caught you doing on some of the reels, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was cool. You know?
I have one of my favorite
Marco
traits.
And some of the
Marco's good. He's fun to roll with because even though he pushes me, he still allows for that flow. You know, a realistic. Professor Blake's a good flow partner. I love rolling with him. AD is one of my favorite flow partners. But yeah, like I like to do that. I know some people might not be into that. They want to come and straight pojada everything, but I like catching a couple rounds where we get to just kind of play and just question and answer, allow each other to answer versus insisting on the submission or the position. And I think that's when, for me, jiu-jitsu is more creative. I think when you're working on things like dominating position or submissions, you're working on that stuff. I think you're testing ideas and you're really trying to put them to the test and see where your holes are, like what you're missing. So there's that aspect of it. So it can kind of be like, you know, it's a martial art, but it's also martial science in a way, because you're
science,
right? You're testing things over and over again. You're testing your theory. You might have a new cross collar choke, different setup, and you keep testing it. Different blue belt, purple belt, doesn't work on brown and black. Why not? So there's that kind of aspect to it where you have that opportunity to play, and it's with your body. It's outside of your head. Spend so much time on the computer. It's like one of my favorite parts of the day when I do get to train. Is coming in and just rolling around. Like a kid.
Yeah, like a kid. Yeah.
I think that's that. I don't know if you catch it in jiu-jitsu, but that you try to go for that, where you just you kind of let everything go. You get it during meditation, like that theta state where you kind of like let go of everything and you're totally relaxed. It's hard to be totally relaxed in jiu-jitsu because you do have to respond physically, but there is a level of relaxation that you're seeking so that you can allow things to happen. You can see things.
You can understand that and try to be that, right?
Right.
Even though you're in a fight or flight
yes,
situation.
That's it.
But try to be as relaxed as you can be.
Right.
Like that high jumper, right? Being totally relaxed.
Yeah.
But not totally relaxed, but it was really relaxed.
really
You picture,
relaxed.
yeah.
But at the moment of execution, that's when everything. Bruce
Bruce Lee,
Lee's,
there you go.
what does he say? Like everything's relaxed until the moment of impact, right?
Mhm.
So maybe jiu-jitsu can be like that, where you're flowing through the guard, and there's a moment, there's a sticking point, and that's when you execute. You push back on that, or you know how to use leverage on that point. And Hixon's one of the best at showcasing that, right? Flow with the go.
Yeah.
You know, it's that stuff to. Those are philosophies to live by on the mat. So, yeah. That's why I love watching old Hixon stuff.
Mhm.
Even when he's rolling with like his poor, I don't know, blue or purple belts from back in the day. Especially like when you see some of that footage from Choke, just watching him flow.
Mhm.
It's dope. One of the best,
Yeah. Yeah. Got my
if
mom.
not the best.
She watched the Choke movie with me, and after that she became a fan of jiu-jitsu.
Recently or
No, back in the day, back in the
Dang,
90s.
Nice.
But it was what got her over to the other side.
To be like, okay,
Just the beauty
I see, I
and the
understand. Mhm.
the value of it,
Yeah, man. You got your family to co-sign your trip to Brazil. I mean, that's a big selling point. If Hixon helped.
Yeah, he totally helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
We watched the movie together. And his family there.
You
kids.
never met Hixon?
I have.
You have,
of course.
Okay,
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was surprised. I was trying to do a private with him, but then he moved to Florida now.
Oh, he's
So,
not over here anymore.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
in
I
Florida.
didn't know that. I didn't know he moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's still here from the Gracie clan? Is there anybody?
Good question.
Torrance. I
I mean,
know
Horace
still-
Gracie was here, right? I'm not sure though. Not
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Well, Henry and Huron,
Right.
Horian's kids are
Yes,
here
for sure. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay. It's a global family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Worldwide family.
They've earned that, right?
Come on. Joe Rogan says they're the most influential, most important family in the martial arts, right? I believe
Yeah.
it. I think so. If you really break it down, look at the numbers.
The numbers, yeah.
How many generations are we deep in Gracie's? Like, are there Gracies competing in the tournament circuit right now?
I mean,
Like
Hein Gracie's
grandsons.
son, right?
Oh yeah,
He's at the top of the game.
he's a solid black belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's training with Uncle Half, right?
I mean, grew
Uncle
up with the
Hodger,
family there. Everybody watching out for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. That's a lot to live up to, though. But good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
No, it's amazing
He
to see these kids
like
grow up, and
super,
it seems like he's
super solid competitor. I've
Mhm.
seen some of his
Yeah.
matches.
good,
It's that
great jiu-jitsu.
Great jiu-jitsu. It's like, damn, that's what it looks like
Yeah.
at that, from that family. It's still instilled that style of that. I've seen like old training footage of like Ralph Gracie. It's a bulldog style.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not flashy. It's really, really technical and efficient. Yeah.
I mean, the story though, right, with Carlos Gracie Sr. and Helio Gracie,
Mm-hmm.
and then their kids, and then the brothers, just the whole family. Them, it's a Petropolis, like outside of Rio. They would get all the families, all the kids together, and they would just put a big old tarp out, and they would just do jiu-jitsu, and way before UFC, way before really people knew what it was around the world, right? But they kept the essence of it alive. Fast forward until the early 90s, right, with UFC and stuff.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. That's a 3-season, 10-episode Netflix saga. Is the Gracie? That's got to be made. Somebody out there's got to make.
They've made some good documentaries. I've seen. I forgot the name of it. It's on YouTube. The Gracies and Valetudo or something, and it's like I think it's like a 4-episode thing.
But is it in a documentary format or is it like a dramatic?
No, it's a documentary with
okay.
interviews and some of the, like Carlos Gracie Jr., like Renzo, and then they focus on certain key Gracies in the family as well.
That's great. Yeah.
And super valuable. I think it's called Gracie's in the Birth of Valetudo.
Is it in
Gracie's?
English?
Yes,
Okay.
Gracie's and the Birth of Valetudo. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Probably search it up on YouTube. Of course, the joke videos. I mean, the Gracie in action videos there as well are always
classic.
good to just see how it
Ta-
worked
yeah.
back in the early days.
Back
right?
in the early days. Yeah. Yeah. I love watching those videos though. Those, especially when they would do like the dojo crashing.
The dojo storming.
Dojo storming.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but that's got to be that's a mini series waiting to happen. How do you cast all those legends?
Done right, right?
Done right. Yeah, no, don't cheapen it.
Yeah.
You know, like really spend the time to make it an epic.
Another good one was is the Renzo Gracie The Legacy movie.
Love that one. I bought that
10
on
years,
DVD.
10 years in the making, so did I, yeah.
God,
Just got to have it.
Love that. I love that documentary. Do you know the filmmaker on that one?
I don't.
Okay.
But
I thought it was really well done, especially when it
he
came out.
He dedicated 10 years, I think over 10 years
That's
of his
unreal.
life following him around.
Yep.
With BJ Penn at the Hawaii fights and Japan with all the, all the guys.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good peek into the world, especially that came out when I was a white blue belt. That was very inspiring to see that back then.
Yeah. And then just how at the end, he's like, Kenzo, maybe he didn't, what he said, but he fought like every single weight in MMA, right? Like he's already Gracie family member. He has the name. He doesn't have to prove, but he fought to represent like jiu-jitsu in his family name.
It's true. That true Vale Tudo spirit, right? No weight class. Like just get in, see who's best.
And paying it forward to the next generation, right? Of Gracie kids and also just the world, right? Of jiu-jitsu practitioners and
100%.
fighters.
Enzo's definitely another hero. Yeah. Guy. His character.
Yeah.
Bring Enzo out here. I mean, that guy's probably so busy and traveling all the time. But
hopefully one day.
One day, yeah.
We got Hoist. That was good. Good. He was here local though. Yeah.
I missed that one. There's a lot of people been through Legacy though, man.
Yeah,
You bring a lot of guys. I mean, that we're all very, very privileged to be on the mats with some of the best. You know, can't catch them all, but there's been so many world champions.
Like the Saulo Ribeiro one was for me. That was like a big deal, just because he was my favorite competitor coming up. You know,
yeah, mentioned that.
I never got to train with him, but I always studied all his interviews and of course his matches, and I learned so much from him. So just to kind of be able to talk to him, do a podcast with him, and train with him, just talk about flow, go with the flow, and flowing. You know, he's showing me a pass. He's like, yeah, you don't want to force it, and you want to be relaxed and flow, and this happens, and you go with the flow,
right?
And then we trained, and he has this solo choke, and I have a really tough neck, and he got this solo. He's so super relaxed, and he just boom, my bridge, and he put his thumb in the lapel, super sneaky. You can't even see it coming.
Yeah.
And then he's like, man, don't worry. I got this. I got Leandro Lowe with this one. He was currently the world champion,
Yeah. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. And he's like, because it's like kind of super basic,
It's the best jiu-jitsu, man.
Super
That's the best
basic.
stuff.
Thumb inside the lapel. Just,
Yeah.
You're like, there's no way I'm tapping from this. And it's all about being relaxed and the timing, right?
Timing. Yeah.
To find the right timing. Being relaxed to find the right timing.
Being relaxed to find the right timing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You feel it, right?
You feel it. You know when you're close. Is that checkmate?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Yeah. Yeah. You know when you got them. You get that. The grip is right. Check.
Yeah, check.
And then checkmate is lock it in.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. It's a good feeling.
Human chess, right?
Human chess. Yeah. That's been used so many times, but it's so it so perfectly describes jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I try to explain that to family. I get lost in word soup trying to explain it. It's probably simpler than that,
you try to explain jiu-jitsu to people.
Yeah,
that's why I'm like, you know what? I can talk to you for an hour or 2 hours about jiu-jitsu, but until you do it, you don't really know. And so when people come in, I'm like, man, just come in, just do a class. If you don't like it, cool, Or
at least you know.
Then you know.
You can, confirmation. It's not for you. But if you like it, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, you see the people's faces, and you can see that. You can read them, right?
Yeah. There's some people that you can see on their first couple classes, even the first class, they're made for it.
Yeah,
Like, oh no, this guy's gonna be a problem. There's a couple guys I've seen from white belt grow into problems in this gym. Be like all the way to black belt. Talking to you, Marco, and Benny. I seen those guys when they came in as white belts. I remember, I tell Marco that a lot because I remember the last time I got mounts on him, he was a white belt. Benny was another dude. Like these guys, like you could tell they're just like they get it. Like they're just really made for the sport, or they pick things up. I don't know if I'm one of those guys. It takes me a little bit longer to figure things out, or I might spend too much time thinking. But there's guys that are definitely.
I was gonna just say, some guys like like champions and guys they want to compete, they want to win tournaments. Everybody has like different intentions, right? Or different, different ways, right? Different journeys.
Yep.
And so you can't compare in a way, right?
No.
But the bottom line is, it helps everybody's lives. If the guy becomes like super tough, world champion guy, or this just helps you be a better person, live your life better, be better at whatever you're doing.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. It's hard. It's just super hard to do. And then the fact that's what I always think to myself. It's a weird group of people that get together every day, a couple times a day, to like willingly attack each other and let go of those submissions. And it's a special group. If you really take a look at it from an outsider's perspective, it's looking at a class, like people grappling and trying to hurt each other and trying to get dominant position and all that stuff. It's a special group of people.
Yeah.
So it's a hard sport. It's a hard thing to stick with. But I think people say it time and time again. You do hard things, everything else feels a little bit easier outside.
Yeah. Well said.
You leave the mat, you're just like.
You're never sorry that you did it. Well, maybe you get injured.
Maybe you get injured.
but I mean,
no, I know. Yeah,
but you're never sorry that you showed up and you did it.
No. Every class you leave a little high. That euphoria. That those car rides home. Sometimes you don't remember driving. You're just like, you just feel good. You're like, you walk in the house, everything's cool. Going back to work's no big deal. So.
Everything's all good.
Everything's all good after jiu-jitsu. So more people need jiu-jitsu. Trying to get my friends and family more involved in it. Some have taken to it. It's nice. I have one of my old training partners from Kung Fu from back in Washington.
Nice.
He just started. His son started. He's 7-year-old,
nice.
And he himself is 43. So it's a father-son thing, and they're at a Gracie Baja. So there's a good structure, right? So and it's funny because I've been telling him over like all these years I've been training, like, come on, just let's roll, let's do some. He's always never had time, but now it's like he's totally addicted, and he's on that 3 days a week program.
Awesome.
And putting time in. I like seeing that. I like seeing that influence reach other people, and then it impacts them and their family dynamic. So now they got a sport together. Hopefully that grows into the son maybe competing, getting higher belts, and same with him, and it just becomes a family thing.
Have it be part of their lifestyle,
structure,
right?
the way the family structure,
life structure.
Yeah, like you got a clan of fighters, right? So, 3 kids on the mat, a gym full of extended family. That's the dream.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the dream. Yeah, it's dope watching all this grow, man. Because like I said, I've been here since 16. So to see the walls get pushed down, the mats change color, the logo interchange, just to see things grow has been pretty. It's pretty awesome to watch. So,
well, thank you.
I'm a fan of your work as well. So it's cool to be part of this, and even in a small way, making little logo marks for the different offerings here at Legacy. So yeah, man, it's a great community and family culture. Culture is, this is where it's at. So
Thank
so,
you.
hell
Thank
yeah,
you.
hell yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, appreciate you and appreciate everything that you do and continue to do.
Let's do more.
Yeah.
I want to do more. I want to do a lot more. See, I'm already like, I got things to finish. I'm already on to the next thing. We have so many things that we've talked about over the years.
It's
we
coming.
wanna
It's coming.
start.
It's coming. It's
Yeah,
coming. It's coming.
be on the lookout. There's
It's coming.
there's
It's coming.
there's some
We're
things
working
in
on
the,
stuff behind
in the queue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Don't tell my wife. Another thing.
Don't tell our wives. Yeah.
What are you guys planning? These secret texts. Like, no, it's nothing. It's just I got nothing. It's just, what's that on your computer screen? Nothing. No. It's just messing around. I always have ideas. I can't stop sometimes. Blessing and a curse, I guess.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to shout out or people find you?
Yeah, if you want to see what the Monday moods are all about, it's Kung Fu Kenny on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. It's just a mood board every week I do, and it's professor here has taken a liking to it. So it's just ideas. I got a bunch of stuff in the queue. I got to wrap up this year. We have a big shoot up in SF. I'm going up next week, so I'm excited about that. And then I hope to just keep making good stuff with you and doing stuff for the jiu-jitsu community, the martial arts community. There's a lot of ideas I think we need to finally push through in 25.
Sure.
But
yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot. So mark this as keeping us accountable, like to surface all that stuff. But yeah, proud to be part of the Legacy family. Proud to be a black belt under you. Yeah, man. Thanks for trusting me to represent this school and your lineage. So, props. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Hell yeah. Is that it?